And we're back again. Okay. Sorry, I did sneak in a couple of other loaves. I did them separate, but you'll be able to see this whole process. So, final shaping. I actually use just these little wicker baskets. They're a lot cheaper than a banneton, and all I do is line it with a, I think they're called a kitchen tea towel. But yeah, I just fold them in half, and so there's a couple layers. I'll dust it with a little bit of flour, and yeah, wrap them in there so they can go in the fridge overnight, and then do the final proof. So a little bit of flour, and this is just all-purpose flour. I don't go to the extent of doing the rice flour or anything, so it works. It keeps it from sticking, and it works. So final shaping, do just a little dusting of flour and put it onto that surface that I just dusted, and then kind of flatten it out again. Okay, and then what I do is kind of stretch a little bit, and then to the center, and then stretch these two sides out a little bit, and then we're crisscrossing, building more of those layers that I've been talking about, and then up over the top to the center, and then these two sides kind of crossing over, building more layers, and then we'll do another roll. So, and this takes a couple times in order to get the little procedure down, but basically what you're trying to get though is just building those layers. So that's your basic loaf. So, and then put it in your basket with this is going to be your top, and so we'll actually put it so the bottom seam is up, and then that'll become the top when you go to bake it. So, and I just do a little wrap over the top and put it into the fridge. So, and I can show you that again. A little flour. Okay, and then flatten it out a little bit. Try not to push a bunch of those bubbles out, because that's basically that's part of your structure, but you want to kind of get it to a nice workable state again though. So you don't want to puncture those bubbles, but yeah, kind of flatten it out. So folding it together to the center, kind of crisscross, and then roll it, and kind of stretching that whole side, but hopefully not breaking, and then kind of tuck and kind of pinch at the same time. So hopefully that's making sense. So, and then you can kind of pinch these little open seams together a little bit. And there you go. So, nice full basket. I'll show you one more time, since I have all three loaves. So, flatten it out. To the center. Stretch. Back. Stretch. Stretch, and then rolling, and then kind of pinching, closing that seam up, and there we go. Okay, and then this will go in the fridge overnight, and we can bake in the morning.